Welcome back, guys. Second take, along with John. I usually have Chris here with me, but Chris is actually absent today. He has something to do. So, unfortunately, he couldn't be here. So, it'll be me once again. All right. So, guys, we're in week 14. What I'm going to do is we're going to talk about week 13 picks. Any surprise wins or anything like that? If it's just me, I like to keep it short. I don't like to, it's more fun with Chris. Ah, I wish Chris was here. Anyway, all right. So, we're going to hop right into this. All right, so week 13, we had some pretty good picks on week 13, all right? Um I think we talked about this too briefly, but the oh wait, no, we didn't. And if we did, we'll do it again. The Thanksgiving game. So listen, Lions hang on by 3 against the Bears. Cowboys had a pretty good game against the Giants. They actually looked pretty good on defense. And by the way, if you see me looking this way, I'm just looking at my phone. I like to keep everything on my phone over here. So, all right, cool. Packers came out with a really, really nice win, and we're gonna talk about the Packers too. We're gonna talk about Thursday night, a couple nights ago, man. That was a good game. Anyway, we're gonna we're gonna keep going here. Chiefs just hang on to it. You know what's funny? I was also almost had the Raiders as my upset. Listen, Chiefs are winning by they get lucky, but anyway, we're gonna not to bash anyone or anything like that, but. Anyway, Bentley came out with a really, really nice win, 24-19 against the Ravens. We're going to talk about that. Birds first right after this. Colts came out with a nice win. They hang on 25-24. Steelers, obviously, they beat the Bengals 44-38. Chargers beating the Falcons. I saw that come in. Seahawks beating the Jets. I saw that too. Let's see what else. Any other surprise? Commanders blowing out the Titans. I wasn't expecting a big blowout like that. I mean, I had the Commanders to win, but not like that. So that was pretty nice. Listen, a really good one to an overtime game. Buccaneers over the Panthers. So that was actually a really good game. Bills dominating the 49ers in the snow. That was a nice little snowball there. And here's a good one too. This is one that a lot of people didn't know. Jerry Jeudy going back to his old house. Browns and Broncos. Broncos won that game, but Jerry Jeudy had a game and a half. Let's talk about that real quick, man. This guy had a fucking like, oh my God. 9 receptions, 235 yards, and a touchdown. Wow. I mean, just unbelievable, man. I mean, think he's definitely at least the top 15 wide receiver in the NFL. But yeah. I mean, he still has it. I believe he still has it. I think he's underrated. I don't feel like, he's overrated or anything like that. I feel like he's underrated. I felt like the Broncos didn't use him. Excuse me, the Browns didn't use him well. But no, I'm sorry. Jesus. Hold on. I have this backwards. No. I was right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's with the Browns. The Broncos, yes, I was right in the beginning. Broncos didn't use him well, my bad. I get that confused. Yeah, I feel like Broncos didn't use him as like they want to. The Browns are starting to like he's like the new Amari Cooper for them. So, hey, shout out to the Browns, man. I mean, even though they lost, they still have a hidden gem in Jerry Jeudy there. So, other than that, that's pretty much it right there. And we're done for this week. No, I'm just kidding. No, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. No, it's not gonna be like that. But birds first. So listen, what I liked about the birds this week is they looked pretty good. That was definitely a complete team win. Jalen Hurts didn't turn the ball over. Defense looked really, really good. They stopped Lamar Jackson, which that's not easy to do. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he's I think, don't quote me on it. I think he's 21-2 against the NFC. 22-2, something like that. My point is he has a winning record against the NFC. Jalen Hurts has a winning record against the AFC. I think he's 22-1, I believe. The only losses Lamar Jackson, only two losses I should say that Lamar Jackson took was against Daniel Jones when he was in New York and Jalen Hurts, two NFC East teams. So listen, overall, and you know what the funny part about that? Saquon Barkley was on both teams. So listen, Saquon had a really, really nice game. We're gonna talk about that for a second. Again, I'm gonna keep this brief. Chris is not here. I usually go about 30, 35 minutes with Chris. This will probably be like 15, 20 minutes. All right. So yeah, Saquon Barkley, 23 carries, 107 yards and a touchdown. Um, Jalen Hurts had a decent day. I mean, 11 for 19. Yeah, 11 for 19, 118 yards, a touchdown. Not terrible, but not, you know, not bad either. Not great, I should say, but no, not too bad. But they kept them under 200 yards, and we kept them under 300, I believe, for the game. I think we kept them under 300, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But anyway, my point is, Philly played really, really well. We kept them under 20 points. Overall, I'm satisfied. I'm really, really satisfied. I believe Chris is too. I would say he would agree. Um, we'll see how today plays out, but overall, I thought they looked pretty good. So, and again, I mean, no team is perfect. You have a couple of things they have to clean up, but I was actually very surprised. And Chris, if you're watching, I'm not gonna lie, and I'm guilty of saying this, man, because I usually don't go against the Birds, but I had the Eagles losing. I mean, yes, I picked them, but I'm like, I think this is gonna be the one that they lose. But I was wrong, so all right. But overall, listen, again, I'm gonna keep this brief. I mean, they just looked good overall. All right. I mean, they're getting better by the week. Okay. Jalen Hurts hasn't turned the ball over. I want to say in a few weeks. I think this is the Cowboys game. That was the last time he turned the ball over. So he threw a pick to Trayvon Diggs. But overall, I think he looked the team looked really, really good. So and again, a couple things to clean up. Nothing crazy, but it's like that with every team. But let's see what else we have here. I'm gonna bring up some little fun topics here. Again, we're gonna keep this brief, and then after that, I actually have to run in a little bit. So we're gonna keep this brief. And I usually don't do this video on Sundays. I like to do it on um usually Thursdays, sometimes Fridays. But before we get into the Thursday night game, 'cause that's a game I really want to talk about. We're gonna talk a little bit, like little couple facts here, and then after that, we'll get to the picks. Hey, check this out. A really interesting fact too. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Chicago's Bears former head coach Matt Afflerbis got fired. So, and speaking of the Bears, there's only two teams that are winless on the road this season: the Bears, and Jacksonville, the Jags. So, wow, I'm a little surprised. Listen, and also shout out to Trevor Lawrence. Listen, I hope he's okay from that nasty hit he took. Um, I mean, he's on injured reserve. His season's over. Listen, we wish him a speedy recovery. That was a really nasty hit. So, and I think that player he got suspended. I want to say it was 3 games. I could be wrong, but I think it was 3 games. But listen, I'm just glad it wasn't nothing serious. Could have been worse, but we'll wish him a speedy recovery. All right. So we're gonna move on here real quick. Give me 1 second. Oh, check this out. You know what? We're gonna talk about Thursday night's game right now, man. Listen. The Lions, man, they looked good. They looked good, but they almost lost. They almost lost. But the Lions, speaking of the Lions, they went 4 for 5 on fourth downs against the Packers on Thursday. So the first one was a touchdown. Second one, 4th and 1 on Detroit's 49, first down. 4th and 3 on Green Bay's 3, touchdown. 4th and 1 on Detroit's, excuse me, 4th and 1 on Green Bay's 21st, 7-yard run, set up the game-winning field goal. There was only one that they didn't get it, which was a turnover on downs, which was a 4th and 1 on Detroit's 31st. They didn't get that. But listen, what do you guys think about the Lions? Do you think they're the real deal? I mean, I know their record, they clinched a playoff spot already. So listen, I like the Lions. I like Jared Goff, but I don't know if he can go deep into the playoffs. I don't know. This is my opinion. Let me get your opinions too. Just drop it down below. I love Dan Campbell. I think he's a great head coach. And I think he's definitely going to get a ring in the future. So that's on that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, here's an interesting topic right here, real quick. And then I want to come back to the Thursday night game real quick. But you know what? No, let me do the Thursday night game first, and then I'll do this. Listen, Thursday night. I mean, again, Lions won. They won by that field goal, but Packers, man, they were down a couple defensive players. Jair Alexander wasn't there. I think if he was there, they definitely would have won that game. They only had, I think it was one pick against Jared Goff. I mean, the guy threw 5 against Houston and he still won. I don't know who does that. I've never heard of that. If you throw 5 picks, you're inevitably going to lose the game. But they pulled it off. But also another thing is what was I going to mention? The I was just say something about the Lions. I know people watching. Yes, tell them how good they are. Yes, they're a good team. They are a good team. All right. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying they're bad. Hey, they clinch a playoff spot, man. You are what your record says you are. So again, I'm just not crazy with Jared Goff in the postseason. I don't know if he can go as far, but who knows? Maybe they could. Maybe they could. I could be completely wrong. But oh, this is what I was gonna mention. The Lions kept doing that. I don't know if you guys saw it. Every play they were killing the Packers with this on defense. It was that little fade route from I think it was from the slot wide receiver. That like Jared Goff was just boop 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 boop. He kept throwing it. He was completing them like nothing, like butter. Like it was just like boom 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 boom. Like, oh man, that was a killer for the Packers. I don't know if you guys know if you got Packers fans watch. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. Man, that was a killer for them. If they would have stopped that, oh, Packers would have won easy. But listen, overall, man, shout out to the Lions. They had a good game. I actually had the Packers winning. That was my pick for Thursday, and we're gonna get to Chris's picks in a second. But yeah, that was my pick for Thursday. I had the Packers, but hey, Lions won. But hey, here's an interesting topic. North Carolina interviewed Bill Belichick for an opening head coaching job, and he's actually considering and taking it. So we'll see. We'll see. And speaking of coaches too, Pete Carroll's another coach that's looking to want to coach again in the future. Future, he might be a head coach next season again. He's such a great head coach. Obviously, he's not going to be with Seattle because they already have a coach. But it's very interesting. Keep your eye on those two coaches, two Hall of Fame coaches too. I definitely think that they'll go to a really good team, coach really good teams, I should say. Let's see what else we have here. Let me see. We're not gonna get into all these topics right now. Let me see, because Chris is here. It's usually fun with Chris. Like I tell Chris all this stuff. Oh, here we go. Hot takes. All right, we're gonna talk about hot takes real quick. Penix needs to get the start in Atlanta. I agree. I mean, listen, they're talking about Kirk Cousins getting traded next season. I think he said he wants out too. I could be wrong, but I think he said he wants out too. But listen, I can see that happening. You guys overpaid that guy. Everyone, I think all these NFL fans, you guys said, why would you pay him that much? Listen, I agree. I mean, I don't like, bro, you have not proven yourself in the playoffs. Why pay him that much? Anyway, but he does want to go to a winning team. And it makes me think he can possibly go to the Jets. Jets are they're like one quarterback from being a good, one quarterback away from being a good team. I know they have Aaron Rodgers. Listen, I love Aaron Rodgers. I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan, but he just has to call it a career. He's got to call it a career. Like Aaron Rodgers, just call it a career, dude. Call it a career, man. I think Kirk Cousins in there will be a nice fit, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I can also see him going to the Saints. Depending on Tua's situation, maybe the Dolphins, depending on his situation, if he retires. He's saying he doesn't want to retire, but I think he might get forced to retire. So something to keep an eye out there. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I think because I still think he could win with a good team. I mean, he could definitely win. I mean, with the Falcons, I think, well, what are they, 6-6 right now? I mean, they're like Falcons, they're known to be hot in the beginning and then they just go downhill after that. So I think I do agree though. I think Penix should start. I think that's I agree with that. All right, here we go. Harbaugh is the main thing, and we're talking about John Harbaugh from the Ravens. Harbaugh is the main thing holding the Ravens back from a Super Bowl. I disagree with that. I don't. I think it's really they need a couple more players. I think they need a really like a star wide receiver. If they can get somebody like maybe like Devontae Adams. Oh, that'd be huge for them. That would be huge. So I don't think it's John Harbaugh, to be honest. I mean, I could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Uh, here's another one right here. This is a interesting one, but whoever pays Russell Wilson, we're talking about Russ, this offseason is going to regret it. I disagree a little bit because Russ, I still think has a good maybe 2, maybe 3 years left in him. I think the Broncos, it's like I said with Jerry Judy, I feel like the Broncos just didn't use him right. It's funny when you see like a player that goes to another team and you're like, oh my God, this player, like for example, like somebody like I don't know if you guys remember this, but when DeMarco Murray went from Dallas to Philly, he killed it in Dallas. He had like a few good games in Philly, but he didn't really do anything in Philly. He didn't. He didn't do anything. I think this is the same situation with Russ. Denver didn't use him right. Steelers are starting to use him right. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually signed him before the offseason. Maybe give him a 2-year extension. I like it though, man. I think he's doing good, man. And I actually called this I don't know if you guys remember earlier in the year, I said, listen, Mike Tomlin might save this guy's career. I think he's going to turn him around, and he's starting to do that too. I think he's proven himself. So here's another good one right here. Speaking of quarterbacks, if he can get the turnovers down, Jameis Winston is still a top 10 NFL QB. I agree. If he gets the turnovers down, yeah, if he can clean that up, yeah, I agree. Here's one. I think a lot of people are going to be like, "What? This is nuts." Vikings are a first round playoff exit. I agree. Only because I'm not a big fan of Sam Darnold. The guys, I feel like he's more of a backup. You're not really a starter. So, I mean, I get he's starting now, and I mean, he's playing decent. He's playing pretty good. But I think, yeah, I agree. I agree, man. I mean, if they had another quarterback in there, like maybe like a Aaron Rodgers, he might pull a Brett Favre. He might pull Brett Favre and go to the Vikings. But they also had JJ McCarthy. He got hurt in training camp. Shout out to JJ McCarthy. Hopefully he's recovering quick. But I agree. Now if he was quarterback JJ McCarthy, I don't think they're first round exits. I think they can go at least to the divisional round. Here's another good one. Speaking of the playoffs, and this one I 100% agree with, man. And I know you guys are gonna fucking disagree with me again. Chiefs are one and done in the playoffs this year. 100% agree. Why? Because they get so lucky. Listen, the Raiders should have beaten them. Broncos, they got lucky with that block kick that they had. Broncos should have beaten them. And that was my upset too with that. Not saying the Chiefs are a bad team. They're still good, but they're not like they're not gonna do a three-peat. Like that's not gonna happen. That's a very rare. This ain't basketball. Okay. If it was basketball, then yes, but they're not gonna do a three-peat there. Depending on who they play, I think they are one and done, but it depends on who they play. The Chargers actually have a really good defense too. So their defense, I think they've kept people under, I mean, overall, I think under 200 points, I want to say. So that's pretty impressive. But yeah, I agree with that. And then we got a couple more here. I'm not gonna go through all of these. Let me see. Let me see. We talked about Jerry Judy already. Let's see. Buck Bowers beats out Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Um, that's tough. You don't really see a lot of tight ends getting them. I kind of disagree, but even though Brock Bowers is having a fucking phenomenal season as a rookie, and I think this guy's only gonna get better. I feel like he's like the new Tony Gonzalez. He's gonna get better and better and better. This guy's gonna be like he's the future out there. I think he's the future. Raiders better keep him. He's a hidden gem. Keep him. But yeah, I mean, I disagree. I think it's either gonna be Bo or JD, one of the two. I mean, I still think Bo Nix is probably gonna have a slight edge over JD, but we'll see. We'll see. It depends how the season ends, but which one has a better season towards the end. But and who goes deep into the playoffs, who makes the playoffs, who goes deeper or whatever. So we'll see. We talked about Jerry Judy already. Richardson and Young getting benched was the best for their careers. I agree. I agree. I mean, I think that's something that they have to learn from getting benched. Sometimes you get benched, you learn from it. Then they come back and they play well. So I will say this too. I'm not a big fan of Anthony Richardson. I'm really not. I like Bryce Young, which we play him today. We're gonna get into that in a second, but not too crazy about Anthony Richardson. I'm not. At least with the Colts. At least with the Colts. He might get traded and go to another team and maybe play better. Then so be it. But I'm not crazy with him with the Colts. So we'll see. I'm actually keep your eye on him this offseason too, because I would not be surprised if he gets traded. So all right, and then the very last one, this is actually a really interesting one. Texans' new empire is collapsing before it was even done being built. Listen, I disagree with this. I still think, look, CJ Stroud, I know he's not having the greatest season. Every quarterback has a bad season. CJ Stroud, he will bounce back. If it ain't, in the next few games, he'll bounce back next season. It happens. Like he's gonna. I think they bounce back. They're gonna bounce back. They're gonna you know I don't want to say rebuild, but they're gonna get a couple new players in the offseason and they're gonna be better next year. And I think that's one team that will definitely be a threat to the Chiefs next season. So I think that's actually one team to beat right there. So pretty interesting hot takes there. I just want to go over that with you guys real quick. Oh, here's something that's really interesting too that Tom Brady said. We're gonna get into this now. I'm gonna get to the picks and then we're done. Maybe a couple more things, but anyway. All right, so we're gonna get to this real quick. Very interesting that I ran into this, but it was late slides should be penalized. Tom Brady said this, and I kind of don't agree with that. I don't. Because he's saying that defensive players have to be aggressive, that that's their nature. And he's also saying, quote, maybe they fine or penalize a quarterback for sliding late and say, look, if we don't want these hits to take place, we've got to penalize the offense and the defense rather than just penalize a defensive player for every single play that happens when there is a hit on a quarterback. That's what he said. Listen, I don't think it should be penalized, but I think quarterbacks should be wiser in how they slide. Like, look, run out of bounds or something like that. Like, obviously, I know not every time you're gonna run, it's gonna be out of bounds. I get that, but or slide early, slide early. I mean, slide early. I get it. Football's a game of inches, but I'm not saying slide a yard early. I'm not saying that. But if you know you're gonna get like you see the defender coming, like maybe a yard or two before you get hit, just slide, just slide. I kind of disagree with that. I don't. I see where he's coming from, but I disagree with that. I 100% disagree. But listen, we're gonna talk about this with Chris next week. I'm gonna get into this week, but other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Oh, here we go. Oh, here's the last one. Actually, no, hold on. There's actually hold on. Me. All right, we're gonna go through two more things, then the picks. Things NFL fans must accept a Week 13 edition. Okay, the Ravens should cut Tucker. I disagree. He's just having a bad season. I think if anything, let's see how we. It's really interesting. Let's see how he plays out the rest of the season, but I don't think you should cut him. The guy's a pretty good kicker. Debo will not be in San Fran in 2025. I agree with that. I think he's going to go to a better team. Ayuk was one that people were talking. I know we talked about this earlier in the season that he was one team that was looking at. The Steelers were making a really aggressive push for him. But he ended up, I think they actually sent him an offer too. And all he had to do was sign and say, "I'm done. I'm going to Pittsburgh." But he ended up not signing it. So they sent him an offer, and I think he accepted it, and I could be wrong, but I think he accepted it. He just had to sign it, and that's it. Like sign off, and you're good. You're in Pittsburgh, but he didn't do it. I think Debo. Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's gonna be in St. Brand in 2025. It's really interesting where he's gonna go to next. I can see teams like maybe like Saints. I can see him going to. Oh, as much as I hate to say this, I see him going to KC. KC is one. I can see him going to the Saints. I'm not going to name all the teams, but just to name a few. I can also see him going to the Jets is a good one, depending on what they do with Devontae Adams, because I have a feeling Devontae Adams is another wide receiver that isn't going to be with the Jets. I think if Aaron Rodgers retires, I mean, he's saying that he wants to leave, so he's either going to retire or he's going to leave, one of the two. I think wherever he goes, Devontae Adams is going to go, whether he goes to the Vikings or whatever. I mean, the Giants or whatever. I think Devontae Adams may follow him. They have a really close relationship, so we'll see. Very interesting to see. So we'll see. We talked about this. Anthony Richardson is back, which again, not crazy with him with the Colts. I think he's good, but I'm not really crazy about him. With the Colts. With the Colts. Let me make that clear. With the Colts. I do think he can be better with another team. So we'll see. Allen win the MVP. Listen, the MVP talks right now are crazy. I mean, you're between Allen, Barkley, I mean, Lamar Jackson. It's gonna be really interesting. We'll see. I kind of disagree with this. He's not gonna win it. I think there's definitely competition on there, and depending on listen, you finish the season strong, whichever one of those three players finishes strong, I think it's the one that gets it. But we'll see. It's gonna be really interesting. I want Barkley to get it. I think it'd be pretty interesting because I mean, every year's been quarterbacks. Let's see another running back get it. So. We talked about this. Rodgers will be benched soon. So, no, well, we didn't really talk about that, but we talked about, how how his future's gonna be over there in New York. We already talked about this too. ATL should give MPJ a chance. I agree with that. Kirk Cousins is looking like he's gonna go out the door. All right. Steelers are legit contenders. I 100% agree with that. Michael Mike McDaniel should be on the hot seat. listen, he's having one bad season. The injuries aren't his fault. And I mean, it's not his fault. It's really not. So again, every coach has bad seasons. Look at Andy Reid, for example. I like to use Andy Reid, for example. Listen, this guy was in Philly for I want to say 10 to 12 years, and he had, I think, a few bad seasons. I think, I want to say two or three. I could be wrong, two or three. I started watching football in 2007. So anyway, but he had one bad season after that. Like he wins three Super Bowls with the Chiefs. Every coach has a bad season, just like we mentioned with CJ Stroud. Quarterbacks have a bad season too. They bounce back just because a quarterback has a bad season doesn't mean that they're a bust. I mean, Jalen Hurts had a bad season last season. He was throwing picks left and right, but he's having a better season this season. So it happens, and I think us football fans have to, you know, think about that. Is by the way, sorry about the siren. I live in a busy street, so if you hear the siren, I do apologize. But anyway, um, yeah, I mean, even with the coaches, they all have bad seasons. Listen, Mike McDaniels, and again, the injuries aren't his fault. I disagree with that. Speaking of hot seats too, this is another one that they said that this guy should be fired. Kyle Shanahan. Again, as I mentioned with Mike Daniels, injuries aren't his fault, man. I think this guy's still a legit good coach. Um, Maybe change up your coordinators, man. That could be it too. I mean, I think this guy's a legit coach. I don't think they should fire him. And if they do, I 100% disagree with that. I don't think they should. All right, so let's see what else we have here. That's pretty much it, I believe. All right. Yeah, so that's pretty much it right there. All right, guys. So I'm gonna get into these picks real quick. Let me pull up Chris's picks because Chris did tell me the picks right here real quick. Bear with me 1 second. Let me just pull up his text. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right. Cool. Well, Chris didn't give me a pick for Thursday, but I had Green Bay. Obviously, they lost. So we're gonna hop right into this, guys. Let me share my screen here. I'm gonna pull up ESPN and we are going to go from there, my friends. All right. And by the way, too, before I start these picks, listen, we got a new subscriber. Shout out to that new subscriber. Let us know where you're from. And by the way, I said this a couple weeks ago. We had another subscriber. Let us know where you're from. Leave a comment down below. Give us your name. I'm not saying give me the whole 10 yards. Listen, just, hey, name where you're from. All right. And who's your team? If it's Cowboys, get out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We welcome all 32 teams. All right. Listen, I know we're Birds fans, but we welcome all 32 teams. All right. All right, so we're gonna hop right into this. Hopefully, you guys can see my screen, which I believe you can. Oh, this was last week. Let me change that. Bear with me 1 second. Oh, here we are. Okay, right here. Cool. All right, so obviously, that was a good game right there, man. Detroit just with that kick was insane. Okay, that was a good game. Wow, look at this $6 a ticket. Jeez, that's a Tennessee. All right, so we're gonna hop right into this real quick. Let me pull up Chris's picks. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. We got. All right, we got Jacksonville at Tennessee. I want to see. Chris has Tennessee on this one there at home. I got Tennessee too, only because Trevor Lawrence is down right now. I think if he was in, I'd pick Jacksonville, but I'm gonna go with Tennessee on this one. All right, New York at Miami. Okay, let's see who Chris got on this one. Chris has the Jets. I got Miami. I got Miami, man. I think the Jets are just, I don't think they're not gonna win out. I think they're gonna lose out, if anything. I got Miami on this one, man. I think they're gonna bounce back. I think I would not be surprised if Miami wins out. I mean, what you guys think below? All right, so we got Atlanta at Minnesota. Listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, I got Minnesota because we need Atlanta to lose for Philly to make the playoffs, damn it. So anyway, so I got Minnesota. Chris has Minnesota too. All right. As we talked about with Atlanta, listen, they had that little QB situation over there, man. I think in this moment you should let Michael Penix Jr. let him play and see how he does. Listen, we're towards the end of the season. Why not? I think it's let him play a couple games, maybe 3 games, see how he does to see what Atlanta's gonna walk into next season and even give the fans a taste of them. So I think play him out. Who knows? I mean, maybe he plays second half of this game. Who knows? I mean, we don't know. But I got Minnesota on this one just because they had that little QB situation there. So all right, we got New Orleans at the Giants. Chris has New Orleans. I got New Orleans too. The Giants, again, they don't have a quarterback right there. Daniel Jones is gone. I like New Orleans. I think Kamara's going to have a really big game. We're going to skip the Philly one for right now because I have a couple things I want to say about that. And we're going to go with Cleveland at Pittsburgh. I got Pittsburgh on this one. Chris also has Pittsburgh there at home. I mean, listen, Pittsburgh's defense, they're playing really, really well. I mean, they're just unbelievable. I haven't seen Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, Jesus, I can't talk today. Pittsburgh's defense this good in a long time. All right. So shout out to Mike Tomlin too, because he hasn't, it's official that he can literally lose out and still have a winning record. The only coach who has not had a losing record. Insane, man. This coach is so underrated, man. He's such a great coach, man. I love Mike Tomlin. But anyway, all right, we're gonna go with the Vegas at Tampa. So Chris has, give me a second. He's got Tampa. I got Tampa too. I like Baker Mayfield. I like what they're doing out there. I think Tampa may sneak in to the playoffs. I think they're easily a wild card. Um, but yeah, I like Tampa on this one too. I like Tampa. They're at home too, so I like Tampa. All right, we got Seattle at Arizona. Listen, again, I need Arizona to lose. I'm gonna tell you right now, Seattle. I got Seattle on that one. Chris has Arizona. Oh, Chris. Oh my God, no. We need them to lose. I got Seattle on this one too, man. I just think I like Kyler Murray, man. I really do. But I feel like Seattle. Also, speaking of Seattle, they're saying that Geno Smith may not be with Seattle next season. Seattle seems like they don't want to sign him. So I think he might prove them wrong, but like, you know what? I'm gonna win out. And you watch me. So wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I know Geno Smith isn't the greatest quarterback ever, but hey, listen, he's got the weapons out there. So never say never. All right. All right, we got Buffalo at LA. It's gonna be a pretty good game. Chris has Buffalo. I got Buffalo on this one too. I think the Rams are just they got some things to clean up. So I got Buffalo too. Chicago at San Francisco. I got San Fran on this one. Chris has Chicago. Oh, wow. Okay, listen, I got San Fran on this one. The reason being is because Chicago has the interim head coach. I think it's Thomas Brown, their offensive coordinator. Um, it's his debut today, but I got San Fran. I got San Fran, man. Listen, they came out salty, like I mean, super salty with that loss against the Bills, man. I understand they're banged up and running back. I mean. I still got San Fran. I think they pull it off. I think they're gonna pull it off. All right, we got a few more here. We got LA at Kansas City. I got LA on this one, man. Listen, we talked about this earlier, man. The Chargers have a really good defense, man. I wouldn't be surprised if these two match up in the playoffs. But I got the Chargers on this one. Chris has he's at the Chiefs. He's got the Chiefs at home. My upset, I'm gonna pick the Chargers. I got the Chargers on this one. And Cincinnati at Dallas. Chris has Cincinnati. I got Cincinnati also. Dallas has they suck at home this season, which is very rare at Jerry's world. But hey, Jerry, shout out. You're doing a great job. You should have signed Derrick Henry. Anyway, anyway, we're gonna go with Carolina at Philadelphia. Listen, I'm sorry, Dallas fans. I have to say that, man. Y'all need a fucking general manager, man. Jerry Jones just needs to be an owner. But you know what? He's doing a great job. All right. Whatever, man. It's your team, bro. Anyway, whatever. Carolina at Philly. Obviously, Chris has Philly. I have Philly too. Listen, this is gonna be a really good game, man. Philly wins this. I think they clinch. And again, if the Arizona loses, and I think if what was the other one I was looking at? Detroit had to win. Arizona, and what was the other one that I was? Oh, and Atlanta. Atlanta has to lose too. So Philly wins that. They're in the playoffs. And if those other scenarios happen, so far Detroit hasn't let us down. That was really weird that we had to get Detroit to win, but hey, whatever. Yeah, I got Philly on this one, man. I think listen, Devontae Smith is back. I know Bryce Young, he's heating up a little bit on offense. He hasn't played Vic Fangio's defense. I think Vic Fangio's gonna turn up the heat on him. Um it's gonna be like that. This game is gonna remind me a lot of like the Washington at Philly game. I think it's gonna be a little close in the first half, second half. He gets shut down. So I think that's what's going to happen here. So I got Philly on that one. So anyway, guys, that is it for this week. Again, it was just me today because Chris had something to do. So I'll see you guys next week. Go Birds. And listen, if you're new here, like, subscribe, leave your name down below. Give us feedback, positive, negative. It doesn't matter if it's negative, we'll change it. And I'll see you guys next week. Happy holidays, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.